Happy Easter. Easter is the most unreservedly joyful day in the Christian liturgical calendar. It's the time of year when the story of the resurrection is retold in churches across the world and celebrated as a triumph of life over death. The story is of Jesus' followers in the days after his death, returning to the place where he was buried and finding it empty. Instead of the body of their beloved teacher, they find a mysterious person who tells them, Jesus is not here, he is risen. Of course, this is impossible, and the characters in the story know it too. They think life only moves in one direction, and if somebody has gone from being dead to being alive, then something truly impossible has happened. And this is a story of the impossible happening. It's what makes a miracle, after all, and something so worth celebrating. It would be easy to spend all of Easter Sunday or all year trying to figure out what really happened in that tomb 2,000 years ago. It's a worthwhile question, but I suspect it isn't what Easter is really about. The Easter poem Reverend Katie read for us this morning ends in a question. Can it be? Can it be? It's a question simultaneously skeptical and hopeful. And I believe we can be both as well, skeptical and hopeful. In times of loss or despair, it's sometimes easier to be cynical, to lean into the certainty that nothing will get better. But this Easter story isn't about certainty, it's about a miracle. It's about people who knew they would find death, but instead found life. Christians celebrate Easter because it reminds them that loss isn't always permanent, that death is not the absolute end we fear it will be. It's the day of the year when Christian preachers sound the most like our Universalist forebears who preached universal salvation, that paradise might be distant, but it is inevitable for all of us. We are about to hear a piece of music written to celebrate the promise of miraculous life after death. As we listen, rather than occupying ourselves with the puzzle of theological difference, I invite us to instead let the song sweep us up into a meditation on our own miracles. What rigid certainties in our own lives have been interrupted by strange and impossible joys? What hopes do we hold even in the face of that impossibility or despair? I invite you all to breathe deep, rest your shoulders and your eyes, and hear in this song of Easter miracles and resurrections something to teach us all. Amen. Of course, we know that Christians aren't the only ones with miracles to celebrate today. In fact, many of the traditions we now celebrate on Easter Sunday are drawn from more earth-centered practices. The name itself even, Easter, comes from a Germanic goddess, Ustra or Astara, who brings forth new life at the spring equinox. It was German immigrants to America who brought with them the practice of preparing a nest for the Osterhare, or Easter hare, a rabbit who leaves treats and colorful eggs for well-behaved children, only well-behaved children, I hear. Easter celebrations today usually end up being a kind of ecstatic freestyle blend of Christian and pagan and secular. There's dressing up in bright floral prints, going to church, gathering outside in the sunshine and grass for neighborhood Easter egg hunts, eating brunch with family and friends, awaiting the Easter bunny, flowers and colorful candy and dyed eggs. Winters in many parts of the world are long and harsh, even deadly, and spring itself is celebrated as a miracle. Like in the Christian resurrection story, the usual one-way flow of time from life to death is reversed dramatically in springtime, and new life comes from something that had seemed for so long lifeless. The earth, so cold and hard and colorless in the winter, bursts forth with green shoots and flowers, wet rain, and baby animals. Eggs become the perfect symbol for this miracle, smooth and hard and motionless as a stone, until they break open and reveal the life within. Unlike the Christian resurrection, this miracle is not a one-time thing. Pagan traditions celebrate the constant cycle of birth and death and rebirth. Each year, no matter how hopeless winter can seem, the earth wants to come back to life. Today, we know it's not just winter the earth needs to come back from, but so much of the damage of continuing global climate change. The earth wants to come back to life, but this is a miracle that's waiting on us. And with that in mind, I will hand us over to our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, Roberta.